Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to work on getting handlebars, grips, lever, brake lever, clutch lever, controls, cables for our clutch and for our throttle installed. I got the second part of our wiring harness into place. Have our CDI box mounted. I know a lot of times they stand it up like this. If I can lay it on its side, I think it's more stable. One thing I'm trying to figure out what to do with is my regulator. Now, I've heard people say you could just zip tie it to the frame, zip tie it on top of the CDI. Right here is a bolt that was snapped off in the frame. This bolt would mount your snorkel tubes that would run air back to your air box on the OEM bike, and on that there was a piece of metal that would mount your CDI box and basically mount it right about here, somewhere in that neighborhood. What I am looking at doing is just taking a piece of metal, drilling this bolt out that's snapped. I should be able to get that out without any damage to the frame. Cutting this piece of metal and basically making it so I can bolt it down onto the frame here and use this where it'll slide into the mount for the regulator, which would then have the regulator mounting right here. I think that would work very well. So I'm going to go ahead, we're going to try and get that done, and then I would really like to get the handlebars on and get all of our controls in. I do have brake lines as well for the front. We have to get those in as well. So I'm going to try and get all that in on this video. Okay, center punch that powder coat off, and then what's left of that bolt. I'm going to go ahead and get ready to bring my vacuum over and get my drill set up to drill that out. Marked my bracket here. I'm going to go ahead and cut this piece out, and then I'm going to have to cut on this piece, kind of have to indent it just slightly on both sides where the rubber goes, so that you have a little bit of a, I know this is a little wider than the rubber on there, on the that rubber, it's like a rubber slot that holds onto the bracket. But we'll keep it wide on the front so that it locks it into place, but have it narrow where the unit will go. But I'll get that cut first. Okay, that worked out good. Got that drilled back out and retapped to an M6 by 1.25. And we have our bracket piece cut out. And I was going to narrow it a little bit, but it actually fits very nicely in there. It's nice and snug. So I'm just going to throw some paint on this, and then we'll be able to bolt it in, and that'll be it. We'll be able to call it a day. That'll mount our regulator. Okay, that bracket is going to be drying for a while, so our next step is we are going to get our handlebars on. These are a set of Pro Taper Mid ATV. These are 7/8 aluminum. So we're going to go ahead and get those installed. Just going to pull the tops of our clamps off. These are just in here loosely. And I'm going to actually just very loosely just take some of the torque off these bottom bolts so that these will square up nicely under the handlebars, and then we'll get everything snugged up. Okay, got the bars in place, and they are secure and torqued. Happy with their positioning. I might have to raise them up a little bit once I get the plastics and seat on. If I have to tip them up a little bit, I will, but I'm pretty happy with where they are right now. I'm going to go ahead and put our grips on. So I'm going to pull these out and get these slipped on. And our grips are on. Now these are ODI Rogue ATV grips. As you can see here, they got a little, the donut on the end is shaved on the bottom for the thumb throttle. I did put our electrical switch in because I finished hooking that up and got our regulator mounted into place onto the bracket that I had made earlier. and that's nice and secure in there. It'll rotate just a little bit if you force it, but it's nice and tight. It's not going anywhere. I did stand this up the way it's supposed to be. Now we have that installed. Now, one issue I did run into is on the left-hand side of the bar, it was knurled. On one side, not sure, not on the other. I'm not definitely sure of the reason why. This is where a grip would be. That side potentially, I guess, could have a twist throttle if you wanted. But I ended up having to take some emery cloth and actually kind of sand the knurling down a little bit, because you literally could not get this. This is a clamp-on grip. It's got a, once you get it on, there's a screw right in there. Let me see if I can get that in the camera. There we go. That tightens that up and holds it into place. So once I sanded it down a little bit, it was able to slide on very easily and clamp in place, and then obviously the other side slid right into place. So now we have our grips on, we have our on-off switch, and over here we have the rest of our controls. We have our clutch lever, we have our brake lever. This is an OEM 250R front master cylinder that's been rebuilt and refurbished. We've got the ASV levers. This is just a cheap aftermarket thumb throttle. I'm going to hook it up for now. I do actually have an original Honda 250R one coming. That's going to need a refurbishing. I'm going to have to disassemble it completely and rebuild it, but this hopefully will do for now. So I'm going to go ahead and get those in place on the bars. Okay. Got all of our controls in place. Everything fits well. Starting to look like it should. Now we have a few other things we can put on here. We have our clutch cable and throttle cable. And we have our front brake lines. See if we can get them installed and in place. Would love to get the brake lines in, and then I could actually bleed both the front and rear brakes and get them functioning. So we're going to go ahead and get started with that. Going to do our clutch cable first. Have a Honda OEM clutch cable. First thing I'm going to have to do here, so I can get the cable into place on the lever, I'm going to have to take this cover off, and then we'll be able to fit it into place. We have your adjuster here, and then we'll be able to run it down and actually get it hooked up onto our engine. With the cover off, got to line up all these grooves right there, and then you'll be able to slip the ball end of the clutch cable into the lever and slide it into your grooves there. And then you could just spin that so this way doesn't pop out at all. Now you're free to run your cable down to where your clutch goes. All right, we got our clutch cable installed. Have it down. Everything's hooked up. I have it adjusted, and I have it adjusted pretty tight because I have to really get some good movement there to get that clutch to disengage. But when I let go, I still have free play down here. So at least I know I'm off the, the pressure plate is being released at that point. I'll have to adjust it again once I get it running. With this being a brand new build, those clutch discs are all brand new. It is a heavy duty clutch setup. So there will be some wear in that will occur literally just even within the first few minutes of running, as well as with the first few times of using the clutch and engaging it and running the machine. And then I'll be able to do a better adjustment on the clutch. So this way, as I really would like to have more free play down here, but essentially having to really pull the lever to its maximum to get it to disengage right now. So I will adjust that down the road. I think next we'll do is go ahead and install our throttle cable. I won't be able to hook it up at the carburetor end, but we will be able to go ahead and get it attached to the thumb throttle. Okay, got the lid off our thumb throttle. So just like with the clutch lever, we're going to end up feeding this into here. You got to hook the bullet into this lever here. There's a you can see the little opening on the bottom there where the cable fits up into there. And it's going to be loose. I'm going to end up screwing this into here and keeping it completely loose because we're going to need the extra slack at the other end when we hook up our carburetor. Okay, got that in there. It definitely takes a little bit of working to hold it in place and push it up, and using like a small screwdriver or even a 90-degree angle pick to push the button up while you're working that cable into where that groove is for it to snap into place. Then we have this in, like I said, I have it adjusted all the way at its loosest setting so that we have maximum amount of cable here, because this will come down through the frame and then go into the top of our carburetor cap and attach to our slide and spring on the carburetor. And we'll be getting that into place when we install the carb, which will be coming up soon. Okay, the last thing I was going to do on this video was install the front brake lines and get them hooked up to the front calipers. But my brake lines that I have, I'm just not happy with their length. I really think that they're way longer than I need them to be. And I'm talking in the neighborhood of approximately 6 to 8 inches longer than what I need them to be. And okay, that doesn't necessarily sound like a lot, but it just leaves a lot of extra slack coming back in here and flopping around, and I really don't want that. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to end this video where we have it now. I'm going to figure this out. I have a really good hydraulic shop locally that I go to, and I can actually take these brake lines to them once I figure out exactly the way I want them and the length that I want, and then I can have them go ahead and cut them and trim them and put new banjo fittings on them, and they'll be the length that I want them, and then they'll go ahead and fit fine, and then we'll come back and get those installed. So I think I'm going to go ahead and end it here. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you like what you see and enjoying following the build. We will be back with more content as things move along. Thank you very much for joining us. If you like what we're doing, please like and subscribe. Feel free to leave any comments below. Thank you very much and have a great day.